Thank you for your interest in the Arts and Humanities Council of Montgomery County's funding opportunities. You have accessed the SurveyMonkey Apply tutorial, also known as SM Apply for short. Please keep in mind that this webinar only covers how to navigate SM Apply. SM Apply is the portal that all applicants use to submit their applications. We encourage you to participate in our other webinars. Our main webinars for all of our funding opportunities cover eligibility, the guidelines, and tips for how to submit a competitive proposal. Please ensure that you review those webinars as well. Thank you and enjoy.
We do recommend using one of the 4 major browsers when you use this portal, so that includes Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Safari, or Microsoft Edge. In terms of accessing the portal, you can use the link that's on the screen right now. These slides will be emailed to all registrants, and this link is in our guidelines and on our website. Just very quickly, in terms of accessing it on our website, if you go to the Programming and Capacity Building Project Grants page on our website, and you click on the header that says Application, in big font, you should see text that says Ready to Apply. Click here to access the SM Apply Grants portal. Just for reference, this is what the homepage looks like. If you are trying to access the site and you see something else, then you're most likely in the wrong place. It should have my contact information and contact information for Karen Judson, our grants manager. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll see the options to log in or register. Obviously, if you're a returning user, please log in. And if you are completely new to SM Apply, completely new to our grant system, then please register, create an account, and follow all of the prompts to make sure that your account is set up correctly and that your email is verified. The eligibility profile is something in SM Apply. It's something that needs to be completed once. So if you're a returning user, you've already done this and you do not need to complete this again unless if there have been any changes. But for all new users, you will have to complete this profile before you're able to view our grant opportunities. Reason being that this profile helps identify which of our grant opportunities are most relevant to you. It's a simple form. Let us know if you have any questions. You can choose as many options as apply. And if anything changes, you do have access to this form in your settings and you can adjust your answers. In terms of starting an application, once you officially create your application, you will have a submission homepage where all of the tasks for the FY24 application are listed and all required tasks are marked with an asterisk. That's actually a running theme. Anything that's required in the application, whether it's in a form or a task, etc., it will be marked with an asterisk. A quick note about collaborators. SM Apply has a great collaborator function on the left-hand side of your submission homepage where you can add a user or multiple users and all of you can work on the same submission. We do not recommend working on the same task at the same time, just in case if any changes override each other. So make sure you're in communication about who is working on what and at what time. Only the original submission owner, so the person who created the submission, can invite collaborators. Anyone who is invited will receive an email with instructions, and this email must be accepted in order for the collaborator to view and edit any tasks. And importantly, you must make note that only the submission owner has access to the submit button. So if a collaborator is working on it late at night, it's the day of the deadline, unfortunately, they will not be able to submit. So keeping this in mind, if you need to change the owner of the submission, please let us know and we can do that on our end. That can only be done through staff. From here, we're going to do a quick run through of the actual application portal. So here I have my test application in the SM Apply portal. Like I mentioned, here's the list of tasks for the FY24 application. Everything that's required is marked with an asterisk just before the task name, and anything that is optional says so in parentheses. All of the required tasks must be complete in order for me to access the submit button. You'll notice that when I try and click on it, nothing happens. And I even have a progress bar here in the upper left-hand side. For the tasks available on my screen, you'll see that some of them have a half green circle, an empty circle, and a full green circle with a white check mark. This indicates tasks that are not started, the empty circle, in progress, the half green circle, and completed, the green circle with the white check mark. To view or start any task, just go ahead and click on the task name, and you'll be taken to a page with the task on the right-hand side of your screen, and you will still have access to all the tasks on the left-hand side of the screen. I'm not going to spend too much time here, but please start with the task that says start here. This is important because it can determine some of the tasks to come. It just asks whether you're applying on behalf of an organization or group. If you have any questions about what this form does or what this form means, please let us know and we're happy to help. Moving on to the application narrative. Again, like I mentioned, anything in this entire application that is marked with an asterisk means that it is a required response. As you scroll through this form, you'll notice that there are multiple pages. In order to move on to the next page, you will have to answer all of the required questions. So for example, if you forget to answer a question and you try to click next, it will tell you that your form is missing something, and as you scroll through, it will tell you exactly which question is missing an answer. In order to navigate the pages, please do use the next and the previous buttons that appear at the bottom of the form. Please don't use the back button in your browser because that may not save your answers and your data. So always remember to use the next and previous buttons at the bottom of the form. We're just going to quickly go through these pages, landing on the main section of the narrative form, which is the narrative questions that tie directly into our evaluative criteria in the guidelines and also pasted right here in the form for your own reference in this teal font. All of these are text responses, and you'll notice that all text responses in these forms do have a maximum character count. The character count is listed at the bottom of the box, and it will actually count the characters as you type. Please remember that this character count includes spaces. So if I just type in a bunch of spaces, you'll notice that it's counting each and every one of those spaces. So if you are working offline, if you're working in Microsoft or in Google, whatever it is, make sure that you're keeping track of the character count that includes spaces. Last but not least, as part of the narrative form is the project budget. This is the budget related specifically to the project that you are applying for. Please make sure that you read these instructions at the top. They have information about what we're looking for in this budget and some important formatting instructions. For example, we do ask that you asterisk every line item that will be paid for by our grant. This is important for both staff and panelists, and panelists do take note of this during the panel meeting. It could affect your score, so please don't forget to use this asterisk for the expenses. Also note that the chart cannot accept any extra symbols, so please don't use commas or dollar signs, because if you scroll all the way to the bottom, SM Apply will not be able to calculate your numbers. So if you see any errors like this, go back through your chart and make sure that you take out any unnecessary symbols. And at the bottom here, please do, these are all auto-calculated. Please do make sure that all 3 numbers match. Again, this is important for staff and panelists and something that is taken note of during the panel meeting. This number in blue is actually entered on one of the previous pages. So if you find as you do your project budget that maybe it's a little bit more or a little bit less than you anticipated, do go back and change this number on the previous page. Once you have reached the end of the form, instead of next, you'll see a green Mark as Complete button. Clicking on this Mark as Complete button is what gives me that green circle with the white check mark. This does not prevent me from making further edits, but this is required in order to submit the application when I'm ready. If you've already clicked the Mark as Complete button and you do need to make further edits to this form, you would do that by clicking on these 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner and clicking Edit. From here, it takes you back to the editor version of the form. You can make any edits necessary. You can go to previous pages, do whatever you need to do. Just make sure you click Mark as Complete again. Quickly moving on to the 501c3 task. Again, this is only relevant to organizations, not groups. But either way, if you get a pop-up that says reuse data, that means that you've submitted this information to us before. It might have been last year's application. Either way, you're more than welcome to reuse this data. It'll also tell you exactly which instance it is pulling from. If you don't want to reuse data, you would just click cancel and then fill in the form or upload the file that you need. I'm going to go ahead and reuse this data. It filled it out for me. I can confirm that it's correct, and I'm going to click Mark as Complete. And similarly to the form, if I need to make any edits to this, I would click on the 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner, click Edit, make the change, and then click Mark as Complete again. Moving on to an upload task, it's very straightforward. You would just click Attach File. It brings up your file manager, click the document that you need. It shows up here at the bottom. If you click on the name, you can see a preview of your document. And if this is indeed the one that you want, click Mark as Complete when you are done. Moving on to work samples. Again, please read these instructions at the top. These are directly from the guidelines. Please reach out to us if you have any questions about these instructions. Like Takinia mentioned, unfortunately, staff will have to remove any uploads that exceed the limitations stated in the guidelines, and we would much rather answer questions than have to do that. Scrolling to the bottom, I have 2 work samples prepped here. One of them is a file, very straightforward, just like how I showed just now. This is an example of pasting a link into a PDF and uploading the PDF. Please paste the entire link into the PDF. Please don't embed it into one word. Reason being is that if the link doesn't work, isn't immediately clickable, the panel can at the very least copy and paste the link into their browser. If you'd like to use the link to video feature, again, it's only for YouTube and Vimeo, so if you have links to other websites, please put that into a PDF or upload the video file. You would just paste the link in this first box, you can name it, and in this last box, you could add any instructions for the panel, such as watch from X minute to X minute to fit within our video file constraints. Again, I have a sample here. If I click on the name, it brings up a preview of the video exactly as the panel will see it. And if for any reason I upload the wrong file or I need to edit something, you would click on the 3 dots next to the file that you want to edit, preview, remove, etc. And again, when you're done, make sure you click the Mark as Complete button. Quickly touching on these last 2 tasks. The reporting data is not related to your application in any way. It doesn't affect eligibility, evaluation, or scoring. This is information that is requested from our own funders. So please fill this format to the best of your ability and just let us know if you have any questions. And then last but not least is just the checklist and signature page. This must be signed before you are able to submit your application. So if I go back to the main homepage section, you'll see that all my required tasks are marked as complete and that the submit button is green and available for me to click. As Takinia mentioned, the submit button does not prevent you from continuing to edit your application, but it does ensure that your application is submitted by the deadline. This is so important. Even if you complete all your tasks, but you don't submit, we can't accept your application. Once you hit that submit button, you should receive an email within 1 to 5 minutes of clicking the button. If you do not receive an email, please let staff know and we can confirm on our end whether we've received the application. Please keep in mind that staff are working regular business hours. So if this happens at 10 p.m. on the day of the deadline, unfortunately, we cannot help you. That's why we encourage you to submit early and then continue to make adjustments up until the date and time of the deadline. In order to continue to edit your application after submitting, the next time you log in, just locate the programming and capacity building box. It's probably one of the few boxes that you have in your account. Here it is, FY24 Programming and Capacity Building Project Grants. You'll see it says submitted. And when I click on view, it takes me to that submission homepage. And from here, I have full access to all of those tasks. I can edit them. Just make sure that after you make any edits, you click mark as complete for each of those tasks. And with that, I am going to pass it back to Takinia to close out our webinar.
We do hope that this SM Apply tutorial has been helpful. If you do have any additional questions, please do not hesitate to contact staff with any questions you may have before the application deadline passes. Thank you, and we look forward to reviewing your proposals.